Picture this. You're 25 years old, just started your career, and someone asks you, when do you think you'll become a millionaire? Most people laugh it off. A millionaire? That's for tech founders, lottery winners, or people born into wealth, right? Wrong. Today, we're going to break down exactly how long it takes to become a millionaire. And I'm not talking about get-rich-quick schemes or crypto gambling. I'm talking about real, achievable paths that ordinary people have taken to reach seven figures. By the end of this video, you'll know the exact timeline, the strategies that work, and most importantly, which path suits you best. Let's dive in. Before we talk about timelines, we need to address the elephant in the room. Is $1 million even that much anymore? Here's the truth. In 1980, $1 million had the buying power of about $3.7 million today. So yes, inflation has eaten away at what millionaire means. But here's what hasn't changed. Having $1 million still puts you in the top 10% of wealth holders globally. It's still financial freedom. It's still the difference between working because you have to and working because you want to. So how long does it actually take? The answer depends on three critical factors. First, your starting point. Are you starting with debt, zero savings, or maybe you've already got $50,000 in the bank? Second, your income level. Obviously, someone earning $30,000 a year will have a different timeline than someone earning $150,000. And third, your savings rate. This is the game changer most people ignore. It's not just about how much you make, it's about how much you keep. Let me show you why this matters with a real example. Meet Sarah. She's 28, earns $60,000 a year, and she's wondering if she'll ever hit $1 million. Let's run the numbers using three different scenarios. Scenario 1. The minimal saver. Sarah saves 5% of her income. That's $3,000 a year. She invests it in a diversified portfolio averaging 8% annual returns, which is historically what the stock market delivers. How long until she's a millionaire? 47 years. She'd be 75 years old, technically retired, but most of her prime years spent without that financial cushion. Scenario 2. The moderate saver. Now let's say Sarah gets serious. She cuts unnecessary expenses, bumps her savings rate to 15%. That's $9,000 a year. Same 8% return. How long now? 32 years. She'd hit $1 million at age 60. Much better, but still hitting that milestone right as she's thinking about retirement. Scenario 3. The aggressive saver. What if Sarah really commits? She minimizes lifestyle inflation, maybe picks up a side hustle, and pushes her savings rate to 25%. That's $15,000 annually. Same 8% market return. Timeline? 25 years. She becomes a millionaire at 53. That's a completely different life. Financial independence while she still has energy, health, and decades ahead of her. Same person, same starting income. The only difference? How much she decided to save. This is the power of your savings rate. It's not just about reaching $1 million, it's about when you reach it. And that timing changes everything. But here's where it gets interesting. There are people who've done it much faster. Let's talk about the accelerated paths. The statistics are clear. About 2/3 of millionaires are self-employed or own a business. Why? Because entrepreneurship breaks the income ceiling. When you work a job, you trade time for money. There's a cap. But when you own a business, you're building an asset that can scale beyond your personal hours. Take the story of Mark. He was a graphic designer making $55,000 a year at an agency. Good job, stable. But he knew the math. At his salary and savings rate, he was looking at 30+ years to reach $1 million. At 31, he made a decision. He started freelancing on the side. Not to quit his job immediately, but to test the waters. Within 2 years, his side clients were bringing in more than his salary. He took the leap, went full-time, and built a design agency. By 38, 7 years after going full-time, his business was worth over $1 million. Not just in revenue, but in actual equity value. That's the entrepreneur's advantage. You're not just saving money, you're building equity. You're creating something that has value beyond your paycheck. But let's be honest, entrepreneurship isn't for everyone. The failure rate is high, the stress is real. About 50% of businesses fail within the first 5 years. It's a faster path, but it's also riskier. So what about people who want to stay employed but still accelerate their timeline? This is the path most people overlook. You don't have to start a business to dramatically increase your income. You need to treat your career like a business. Let me introduce you to James. He graduated with an engineering degree, started at $65,000, standard trajectory for his field. But James did three things differently. 1. He job hopped strategically. Every 2 to 3 years, he switched companies. Not randomly, but deliberately moving to roles that paid 15 to 20% more. This is crucial. Studies show people who stay at the same company for more than 2 years earn 50% less over their lifetime than job hoppers. 2. He invested in high-income skills. James learned data science and cloud computing, skills that were in massive demand. He didn't wait for his company to train him. He spent evenings and weekends leveling up. 3. He negotiated aggressively. Every job offer, every promotion, he negotiated. Most people leave $10,000 to $20,000 on the table because they're uncomfortable asking. By 35, James was earning $180,000. Combined with a 20% savings rate and smart investing, he crossed the $1 million mark at 42. 13 years from graduation to millionaire. No business ownership required. Just strategic career moves and disciplined saving. This is the path for people who want security with acceleration. You keep the benefits, the steady paycheck, the predictability, but you maximize your income potential. Now, I need to address something important. Everything I've talked about assumes you're starting from a relatively stable position. No crushing debt. Basic financial literacy. Access to opportunity. The reality is, not everyone starts there. If you're buried in student loans, if you're supporting family members, if you're working 2 jobs just to cover rent, your timeline will be different. And that's not a moral failing, that's just reality. But here's what's still true. The principles don't change. Increase your income. Increase your savings rate. Invest consistently. The timeline might be longer, but the destination is still reachable. And here's something else that's often ignored. You don't have to wait until you hit $1 million to experience financial freedom. The person with $300,000 invested is already in a different financial reality than someone living paycheck to paycheck. The journey itself creates security. So let's talk about the actual steps. How do you start? Step 1. Know your number. Use a compound interest calculator. Input your current savings, your expected annual contribution, and a realistic return rate. 8% is historically reasonable for a diversified stock portfolio. This gives you your baseline timeline. Step 2. Optimize your big 3. Your housing, transportation, and food typically eat 60–70% of your budget. Optimizing these isn't about deprivation, it's about efficiency. Can you save $500 a month by choosing a slightly less expensive apartment? That's $6,000 a year invested, which becomes over $300,000 over 30 years. Step 3. Automate everything. Set up automatic transfers to your investment accounts the day you get paid. You can't spend what you don't see. This is how you actually stick to your savings rate. Step 4. Invest for growth. $1 million in a savings account earning 0.5% interest takes forever. $1 million in a diversified portfolio of index funds averaging 8% happens decades sooner. Time in the market beats timing the market. Step 5. Increase income aggressively. Whether it's through career advancement, side hustles, or business ownership, your income is your most powerful wealth-building tool. Negotiate, skill up, switch jobs, ask for raises. Every extra $10,000 in income saved and invested cuts years off your timeline. Step 6. Avoid lifestyle inflation. This is where most people sabotage themselves. You get a raise, so you upgrade your car, your apartment, your lifestyle. Your income goes up, but your savings rate stays flat. Fight this. When your income increases, increase your savings rate proportionally. So, how long does it take to become a millionaire? The answer is, it depends. But it's not some mysterious, unachievable goal reserved for the lucky few. If you're 25, earning $50,000, and you save 15% with average market returns, you'll be a millionaire by 57. That's 32 years. Bump that savings rate to 25%, and you're a millionaire by 50. That's 25 years. Add career growth, bringing your income to $80,000 by your mid-30s, and suddenly you're looking at 20 years or less. Start a successful business? You could do it in 10–15 years. The timeline is in your control. It's determined by three things: how much you earn, how much you save, and how you invest. Most people never become millionaires, not because it's impossible, but because they never commit to a plan. They let years pass without intentional action. They spend everything they make. They don't invest. They don't increase their skills. They don't think long-term. You now know the math. You know the paths. You know the timeline. The only question left is, when do you start? If you found this valuable, consider subscribing. We break down complex financial concepts into actionable strategies every week. The path to $1 million isn't a secret. It's just a decision followed by consistent action. Thanks for watching.